welcome to our top 10 tips for picking a cruise itinerary. If you're a seasoned cruiser, you will likely have a favourite line or two, and maybe even a favourite ship. So choosing your next itinerary just comes down to the basics of timing and cost. On the other hand, if you're new to cruising, you will likely have none of that, and even worse, you will more than likely be confused by all the things you have to think about when choosing a cruise itinerary. On the flip side of all of that, this is also one of the most exciting times for many, as it is when you start to research places, and then when you find somewhere of interest, you start to dream of pulling into port on board your chosen ship. It is also the time when small mistakes can end up costing you in the long run, so before searching for your next dream cruise holiday, make sure you check out these top 10 tips for choosing a cruise itinerary. As ever, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications, as not only does it help us produce more content for you, but it makes sure you miss none of our cruise guides, top 10s, tips and advice videos. Our number 10 is luggage, and whilst this one may not be up there in terms of importance for deciding upon an itinerary, it is something that often gets overlooked. Everybody likes to pack differently, with some liking to pack lots of different options for each day, just in case. Some like to pack light, some like to pack plenty for being on shore, and lots of in-betweens. If you are cruising from a nearby port, it doesn't matter as much, as you can basically pack what you want, but if you are flying, you will need to think about whether you can pack light enough for your flight allowance. There is also the issue of choosing a cold weather itinerary or a warm weather itinerary, as both will need different clothing, so if you have always enjoyed sunny getaways, maybe stick to those types of itineraries and save on buying a whole new holiday wardrobe. There are some regions where you can cruise all year round, including the likes of Hawaii, the Mediterranean and the Caribbean, but even those destinations have big changes in itineraries offered at different times of the year. Aside from those, most destinations you will want to visit are only available during certain months of the year. This is especially true for cold weather cruises, such as those heading to the Baltics or up to Alaska, and also for popular sailings in Asia, Australia and South Africa. If you have a specific port of call that you would like to visit, it really limits the itineraries that you can choose from, so this is something you need to decide on before starting your search. If you really want to visit one of the world's busiest cruise ports, such as Civitavecchia, Barcelona or Athens, your options are plentiful, but if you want to visit a rarely visited port, such as Punta de Bombón, you will be heavily restricted in your choice. When it comes to choosing a cruise line, many cruisers simply think about the onboard experience, but your choice of line can directly impact on your cruise itinerary. Some lines only sail in a certain region, some only sail in regions for part of the year, and some lines offer multiple cruises of the same region but with a different itinerary. There are some parts of the world where just about every type of ship operates, including everything from the brand new megaships to the more smaller and luxurious ones. But in most places, the choice of ship you would like to cruise on will directly impact the itinerary you can sail. The huge megaships of the Caribbean and Mediterranean can only visit large ports, while smaller ships may have to visit smaller and more out-of-the-way ports, as the more popular ports are often picked by the bigger ships. There are lots of different types of cruises available, and these will impact the itineraries that are on offer to you. Among the most popular options are cruise and stay, fly cruises and no-fly cruises, whilst other types of cruises range from all-inclusives to adult-only cruises, and from private hires to even themed cruises. Choosing a specific type of cruise often means you are going to have a great time, but it does limit the itineraries on offer. If you are new to cruising, you may think that all lines offer a similar, if not the same, style of holiday, in that it is a cruise. But even those who have sailed on just a couple of lines will be able to tell you the experience not only changes from line to line, and not only from ship to ship, from the same line, but also from cruise to cruise. On the face of it, that seems a strange statement, but it's true. The fact that each line offers a different style is easy to understand, and the fact that the experience can change from ship to ship, and even from cruise to cruise, may be harder to understand. To make it easier, there are some things that tend to be true across all lines, and that is the bigger the cruise ship, the more family orientated it is, as bigger cruise ships simply have more on offer. Smaller ships tend to have an older clientele and more couples, while longer itineraries tend to have an older and more relaxed crowd, and shorter itineraries tend to have a younger and livelier crowd. Some people love short cruises, some love longer cruises, and some can be restricted by the time that they can get off work. No matter if it is your choice as to how long you sail, or if there's a restriction placed on you, it will have a big outcome on where you can sail to. Whilst we would all love to book into a luxury suite on board our dream ship that is going to all the destinations we want to visit, the chances of that all coming together is slim, and the chance of that happening within our budget is slim to none. With that in mind, it is always best to decide upon a budget before you start looking at available itineraries, and you will soon find that a cruise that looks ideal is simply out of reach. Number one top pick for what to think about when choosing a cruise itinerary is the departure port. There is always a great place to start when you're choosing an itinerary, as for many of us it is the one with the fewest options. If you don't want to fly either before or after your cruise, you will need to set sail from your nearest port, and that will limit the options you have to pick from in terms of itinerary. If you are willing to fly to start your cruise, the chances are that you want to set sail from somewhere that you would like to spend time in,